Welcome to the Positive Sports Podcast. I'm your host this evening, Ed Montana, out in beautiful Boston, Massachusetts, actually just outside of Boston, Massachusetts. If you're thinking this is going to be another solo job, you are mistaken. Via satellite, via Skype, or just my phone. I don't know which. I don't know how this all works. We just try to make it work. But with me today, my long distance, far away, best friend on the planet, my brother Alex. How are you today?
What is up, everyone? While you're in cold-ass Boston, I got some pretty nice weather here in Houston, man. It is lovely, lovely.
Man, it is something else here, man. It is. So we'll get right into the Boston thing. I haven't done anything yet because the race is tomorrow. But I'll get right into some of those details right now, and we'll go on to the positive sports stuff here in a second. But it is supposed to be in the high 30s tomorrow with 100% chance of rain, right? And now when the weatherman says like a 5% chance of rain, it means it's going to rain. When he says it's 100%, it's going to rain all fucking day. And it's supposed to be cold. It winds about 20 miles an hour tomorrow. Not necessarily in our face. I think it's going to be a crosswind, which is good because it's a small country road basically that you take from Hopkinton to Boston. So it won't be too bad from that perspective. The wind shouldn't be too terribly bad, but it's going to be rough on the runners. And it's going to be rough on the spectators. It's not going to be fun for anyone out there. But it should make for an exciting. The race itself should be very exciting. The African runners, they're very fast, they're very good. But Boston is more of a tactical race, and when you have weather situations like this, there are some people that run better in it, some people that don't, and it becomes quite interesting. But anyway, so that's the little preview of tomorrow. And hopefully I will make it back to warm Houston without any popsicles or icicles hanging off my chin or frozen snots to my face or whatever it is. It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough.
I don't know how the heck you guys do it. You runners are freaking crazy because I ran from like dogs and cops when I was small in the cold, and that doesn't last very long. But I mean, 26.2 miles, holy crap! I just don't. I don't think I could ever do it. I probably could if I put my mind to it and like trained. But
yeah.
If I don't need to, I'm not going to.
Well, look, hey, we do this positive running segment all the time, and it very much is a what can you put your mind to, right? I mean, you're just a different kind of athlete than I am. You choose to do the workout regimen, and you go more for strength and that kind of fitness than endurance, and then there's other people that go out there for speed. So we're all different, but if you put your mind to it, man, there's a lot you can accomplish. So don't.
So do you buy like little hand warmers and or do you just like stick your hands in your shorts?
No, I'll.
How do you warm up for something like that?
Well,
what I want to know.
The rough thing tomorrow is going to be before the start of the race, right? Because before the start, because the race is so big, you're at the Athletes Village, which is basically the parking lot of a high school, and it's you're out in the elements. So I'm sure they'll have tents and heaters and all this other stuff, but it's going to be uncomfortable, right? And that's the hardest part. You're wearing garbage bags to try to stay dry and hats and gloves and stuff. But I'm going to be wearing shorts, probably a long sleeve and a tank top over it, just so that, like, I always put my bib on my tank top and I just wear that on the outermost layer of whatever it is that I'm wearing. But I'll wear gloves and a hat, and I probably will not take them off tomorrow because the worst thing you can do is lose all the heat through your head, and your hands just get real. Your hands get real. It just hurts after a while. And really, the only other adjustment you have to make is not go out too fast because you want to go out faster. You've got a lot of energy and you want to warm up. And you got to be careful at the water stations. You don't want to spill a bunch of water on yourself, especially early on, because that just becomes cold, right? So it'll be quite interesting. I don't know when we'll recap my adventures through the Boston Marathon, but midweek or next week or whatever, but we'll have an update for all the fans after that. Speaking of fans, if y'all want to get a hold of us, you can get a hold of the show via email. You can email the show at positivesports10@gmail.com. That's positivesports10@gmail.com. If you want to send me some last-minute well wishes for the marathon tomorrow, you can do so via Twitter at eMontana21. If you want to commiserate with my brother about sitting on the couch and not doing any running, you can do so at
Brooklyn Gaucho on Twitter.
There you go. So, episode 13 of the Positive Sports Podcast. I did a little solo earlier this week. Alex could not join me. He was too busy. What were you doing anyway? You were gambling your life away? Is that what you were doing?
I was, man. I was. But, you know, it's a beautiful thing when you break even, I must say. Breaking even is nice.
That's a win in my book.
When you're down about 200 bones in the first 2 hours,
Oh,
and you're there for about 8 hours, and you kind of make it back in the last 2 hours, yeah, it's all good.
what
I'll
is
take it.
what is your game of choice?
Well, as I like to call them, I stay away from the sluts. That would be the slots.
Yeah.
I learned my lesson with that a long time ago, so I just stay on the craps table.
Crabs too complicated for me. There's too much shit going on there. Now,
Well, the neat thing is you have the craps table where you actually control the dice yourself. You throw the dice.
mm-hmm.
And you have the other craps table where it's pretty much, it's like the game of Trouble, if you remember when you were little.
Yeah.
Like 8 people around there, and you pretty much, it's good if you're just learning how to play. It's a much slower pace. It's not a lot of different hands going around, handling the chips and the dice and all that. So I don't trust all those hands on the real craps table, if you would. So I stay away from that one. But nonetheless, we had a good time. My wife and I celebrated our anniversary, so it was really cool, man. Get away for a day.
Well, good deal, man. Good. Happy anniversary. I hope you got her something nice, because putting up with your ugly ass is a full-time job. So, again, she should get the biggest present there for sure.
So, hey, speaking of crazy weather in Boston, I must say, since Friday, there have been about 11 or 13 games postponed due to weather. I mean...
Yeah, it's been rough. It's been bad, like all through the Midwest and the and the Northeast has been terrible. And remember, even last week, the first weekend after that first weekend, there were some games postponed here in New York as well. So, or in the New York area, I should say. So yeah, it's been crazy. They played today, and it was windy, and occasionally it would sleet and snow and stuff. We were actually I actually had lunch at Wahlburgers down there by Fenway today, and you could hear the fans from outside and whatnot. And let me just tell you, it looked miserable playing in that game today. The Yankees got basically snowed out the whole weekend in Detroit, but it's been everywhere, because even out west, California, the Angels played a game that was pretty nasty looking weather as well. It was just kind of weird.
Well, I think that one was in Kansas City, actually.
Yeah, again, the Midwest.
Yeah. Actually, Ohtani was supposed to pitch that one, and now he's pitching on Wednesday. I was
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, he's pitching on Tuesday against David Price here in Boston. How awesome is that going to be?
Now, that's what I want to see. I want to see how Ohtani plays, how he pitches against a real team. No offense to the Athletics, but, let's see how he fares against that lineup.
Yeah.
That should be good.
Actually, no, wait a minute. I think it's actually back out in Anaheim, because I think the Red Sox go back on the road. Speaking of the Red Sox, though, man, 13-3, I think, to start the year. Not bad. I mean, that's one of our picks to go far. We thought that they would be a dominant team. Really, the only there's no surprises really in the American League. The Yankees are a little bit slow, but they're 500. It's early, Cleveland is not setting the world on fire, but again, it's early. The Anaheim Angels and the Houston Astros. Obviously it's very early, 15 games into the season, right? It looks like it's going to be every bit of the dogfight that some people thought it was going to be. I didn't think so, but you kind of did.
Yeah. I mean, right now Boston is playing great baseball, and you have the Angels who are also they're leading the West. It is early, but it's good to see how these teams perform coming out of the gate. See what kind of lead they can get on that second and third place team.
Yeah.
Ultimately it comes down to just playing consistent baseball and staying healthy, which on the National League side, I think everyone's surprise has been the New York Mets, and even I'm surprised also, even though that is my World Series pick. But no, they have surprised many, and look at Washington; they're like in third place in that division now, and Atlanta's in second. So, it's very early, but
and
they got to play the game, right?
And Philly has ripped off 5 straight. I think they've actually moved into second. So, yeah, right. The Mets have been a pleasant surprise, obviously, for us. But, the Mets are a good team, and they've got good pitching. The problem with them has been injuries and really kind of keeping a consistent lineup throughout the season. That's where they've struggled more. And so the fast start is not super surprising. I'll be more surprised if we get to the end of the month and they're still on this torrid pace, or going into the middle of May, and then once they start to kind of settle in a little bit, what do we have going on?
Let's not forget in 2015 when they went to the World Series, they reeled off 13 in a row in April. So look, this team is very talented, okay, but the one thing that concerns everyone is injuries. You're wondering when the hell are the arms going to start to fall off. We lost 2 of our catchers already, our starter and our backup. We lost them already. Travis Denard for the long term, and Plawecki is out for like 2 to 3 weeks. So, it's like, oh, here we go again. But so we're going to see what the team is made out of.
Luckily, that was not a high output position. And the pitching staff is not so young that they can't manage games themselves, right? So it's not a humongous loss for the Mets, but it is a concern going forward. Now, the team that has not gotten out of the blocks well is the Los Angeles Dodgers. We thought they were going to be dominant. I thought they were going to be dominant in the West, and they have struggled. Now, Clayton Kershaw threw a gem today. 10 strikeouts or more without a walk. I mean, just incredible dominance on the mound, and they beat the Arizona Diamondbacks, who have gotten off to a good start. And so, it's put the Dodgers here in an early hole. But again, we're 15 games into the season, so I don't expect that to be a long-term problem.
Yeah, I had the Dodgers really kind of taking a step back, not necessarily losing the division, but their pitching worries me a little bit. I don't think they got the firepower in that rotation to keep up, so to speak. So I don't know.
And in the Central, the Pirates have gotten off to a good start. Hey, did you see the Braves blow a 10-2 lead yesterday?
Ridiculous. Did you see those? And the conditions they played, even Joe Madden was like, we shouldn't have even played the game, and that came from the winning manager.
Yeah. Now, every time I hear someone complain about someone bunting when there's, we've had a bunch of, it's been a bit of a testy start, right? We've had a couple of brawls. We've had a couple of, kind of snarky comments back and forth about people bunting against the shift and this, that, and the other thing. Look, the one that really pissed me off was the Minnesota Twins complaining about the Orioles bunting in the 9th inning down 7. They played this shift on, I forget who it was. I forget who the player was. I apologize. But they got all pissed off that the guy bunted to get on base down 7 in the 9th inning. Hey, he's bunting because you're shifting. If he shouldn't be bunting because they're down 7, you shouldn't be shifting.
Exactly. Plain and simple. Look, you're big leaguers, okay? The name of the game is to get on base and score runs, and if you don't like it, then stop them. I mean, you're giving them the whole left side of the infield. I mean, you have no one playing shortstop and third base.
Basically,
I
yeah.
have no problem with it. Call it Bush League if you want, but dude, it's baseball. It doesn't matter.
I hate the whole. Well, he shouldn't be bunting in the 9th inning down 7, especially when you are still playing the game as though it's the first inning and you've got a full shift on. Come on, and that's the pot calling the kettle black. Not to mention, we've seen games like that. You don't see it all the time, obviously, right? But we've seen 10-2 leads disappear. Like the Braves taking out the Braves blowing a 10-2 lead yesterday with the Cubs. Shut up. Just shut up and play the game. It is not Bush League. He's trying to get on base. Look, he's trying to make a living at the end of the day, right? His batting average is going to matter when it comes to contract time. His base hits, his plate appearances, his run score, all that crap is going to matter. So, let him play the game. He's trying to make a living at the end of the day. Just ridiculous.
Hey, in the words of Herb Edwards, you play to win the game. Damn it.
I agree completely. And, for people getting bent out of shape, and it's ridiculous. And then, what was the other one?
That's why they're called the unwritten rules. They're not written. They don't exist, buddy.
Exactly. They don't exist, so we don't have to play by them. Then you had, was it Colorado and San Diego that got into the fisticuffs?
Yes, and listen, throwing a glove at Nolan Arenado is not going to help.
but in all fairness,
on top of that, you throw the glove and you're backpedaling all the way to foul territory.
Yeah, look, if you want to throw at a player and he wants to come out and charge you, you're allowed to take a couple steps back, right? Because he's got full momentum. But you can't run off the field. I mean, he was damn near in the clubhouse when he threw that thing.
I mean, that was ridiculous. I don't know what sparked that one, but there must have been. I'm guessing the Rockies hit someone earlier.
Yeah. There were players hitting the previous game and earlier in that game as well. And then you had the Yankees and Red Sox, which, the slide by Austin was it was close to questionable, but not bad. And my problem is when these pitchers, look, if you suck so much that you can't hit them on the first pitch, stop throwing at them. Just stop it. Just stop it. Just don't do it again. You made your point. You threw a bad pitch and you didn't hit him. Okay, you're not good enough at hitting him. And on the other side, hey, Austin, what's the big deal? It hit you in the ribs. It wasn't at your head. Be a man. You don't have to go out there. Just take your base. Move on. People just too angry.
Yeah, well, the Yankees are angry because they kind of started off rough. I agree. If you don't hit him on the first attempt, then just stop. You made your point. But that slide by Austin was definitely dirty.
You think so?
Yes. Oh, clearly. They got a shot from center field. It's a dirty one. I think so. The Red Sox had they rightfully should have gotten angry.
It didn't look that bad to me. It's weird, though, because you don't see this kind of testy stuff this early in the season.
Well, listen, man, I mean, I'd be kind of mad, too, playing these cold weather games in April.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. So early baseball. Some of our predictions are looking good. Some are maybe not looking so good. But it's early.
Mostly mine.
So, speaking of predictions, we don't have much basketball to talk about in terms of basketball playoffs, but we did get a couple of surprises. One, yesterday, I thought it was a bit of a surprise that the Pelicans went in there and played the Blazers. Look, I figured it'd be a tough series, but I really thought the Blazers were going to kind of run over them a little bit. But the Pelicans won Game 1 on the road. That's a big deal for them. I think that's a big confidence booster for them going. I'm not saying they're going to win the series, but it's got to make them feel better, make them feel like they have a chance to really play through this series with them. So I'm excited to see the rest of that series. I think that's going to be one of the better first-round series to watch. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm pretty high on Portland. I know you were giving me a lot of grief about that. I just think they have two dogs with Lillard and McCollum, and I think they'll turn it around. I think they'll win the series. But let's not forget, Rondo on the Pelicans looked like Rondo on the Celtics.
Yeah.
Come playoff time, he's not going to score more than 2 points, but he's gonna find ways to get Anthony Davis the ball. They played a well-rounded game. They almost lost a 13-point lead, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was surprising, I'd say. But not. Yeah, it was surprising.
Speaking of surprises, we really didn't have any other in terms of seeding upsets. But what'd you think of Game 1 of the Cavs and Pacers?
Lance Stevenson is the most overrated basketball player to ever come out of New York City. But God damn it, when he plays LeBron, I love watching him. It's exciting. It's funny. It's awesome to see LeBron frustrated. This result is kind of surprising, the way they got blown out.
Yeah.
That they lost. I don't know that that's surprising. Victor Oladipo, I hope I said his name right. He's had a monster season. The guy can score. So the Pacers always play LeBron and the Cavs tough.
Yeah, they do. I think if Lance Stevenson had to play 82 games a year against LeBron James, he'd be a top 10 player in the league. I mean, he plays a lot better against LeBron than he does. I'd be curious what the split is on his stats against Cleveland and against the rest of the league, because he does play. He frustrates LeBron. He gets up for it. He's not a great player, really. You're right. He is overrated, but I don't think it's an overrated on his talent. I think it's an overrated because of his effort. I don't think he gives the same effort playing against everybody else that he gives against LeBron.
Yeah, no, you can tell in other games that he's played, he's given up on fast breaks and he just doesn't care. But for some reason, he plays LeBron tough. I don't know. I think he truly hates the guy. Yeah.
I absolutely think he does not like LeBron at all. And seeing LeBron
as well as he plays LeBron still got a triple-double tonight. So
yeah, I'll tell you who's not liking LeBron either is Kevin Love. Those guys don't get along. There's some kind of chemistry problem there. And I saw a little clip of the post-game press conference with LeBron. And they were talking to him about being down. He's like, I've been down 3-1 in the finals. And they were talking to him about his young teammates, and he didn't give a shit. I think LeBron is close to packing it up and just calling it quits with Cleveland. If they lose Game 2, it's over. He will just mail it in the rest of the way and say F it. And quite frankly, I think, look, unless they make it all the way, unless they win the championship somehow, I think he's done with Cleveland. He just doesn't seem to want to be there. I think he doesn't like the Kevin Love thing. He doesn't get along with him. I think he's a bit at his wit's end with Tyronn Lue, which I don't understand why, because I think he's doing a good job. It's just not going to be pretty.
I just don't understand why he keeps getting mad at Kevin Love. Dude, you traded away Wiggins for Love. This is the player you wanted.
Yeah.
You got him. Learn to play with him. Figure it out what's going on. I'm on the opposite end. If we're going to predict the summer of LeBron again, I believe he will stay. Moves out of there. LeBron needs the control. He wants to say so. I don't know that he can go anywhere else. And and have that type of control. But he has played it down the road. I believe he'll stay.
Oh, jeez. You know, I saw something the other day on Twitter about him and Paul George should opt out and go to Houston. And if you had the starters' first names, it would be Chris Paul and LeBron James. And if it James Harden, I think. Yeah. It was.
You're right.
If you went by first name, you would have Chris Paul and James Harden, and if you went by last name, you would have LeBron James and Paul George or something. Something like that. It was hilarious. I thought that's where he's going.
Yeah, they're gonna go just for that.
Someone figured it out.
You know how famous that the person that tweeted that will be.
Oh, geez, that'd be retweeted over and over and over again. Let's see, the other series. The Celtics had a tough one today with Milwaukee. Milwaukee, I think, had their chance to steal Game 1, and they lost it. And I think now the Celtics will cruise the rest of the way. But, man, it's tough for the Celtics. They're a young team without Kyrie and Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, I said earlier, not on the podcast, to myself, that Tatum and Jaylen Brown will be the ones that the success of this team in the playoffs. They showed it in Game 1. They combined to score a lot of points. They're going to need them to play like veterans for the rest of the playoffs in order for them to win. Remember, they're rookies.
Yeah.
So, you know, it really hinges on them, I think. So.
Yeah, no, I think that's very accurate. And then the rest of the way, there's really not much. There's really not much to talk about. I mean, the Warriors beat the brakes off the Spurs, and I think it's just going to pretty much go that way. The Sixers beat the brakes off the Heat. Man, Ben Simmons looks good. And that team will benefit greatly from an easy first round series. Not saying that they'll win the second round series automatically, right? Because they would go up against the winner of Boston, Milwaukee, which I think they could beat either one of those two teams. I think with the Celtics it would be a series, but they could beat them. I don't think it would be crazy to see them win that series.
Right.
So, the East looks like, I mean, can you really have a whole lot of confidence on anyone in the East? None of those 8 teams. I look at those teams and none of them makes me think, oh yeah, that's NBA Finals right there, no problem, except for maybe one small hiccup,
Yeah, no, and sadly it's been like that for the past 8 years, 10 years, or since LeBron's been. I mean, the East has always been pretty weak. In the past 15 years, it's been a pretty weak East.
Yeah, but in previous years, you've had one or two teams that you're like, okay, this is going to be the team that's going to go. Like in the West, right? We've got the Rockets and the Warriors, and you're like, yeah, one of these two teams is going to go, right? This is it. I can see the Raptors winning the East. I can see the Celtics winning the East. I can see the Sixers winning the East. I can see the Cavs, the Pacers. The Heat, I don't think so. The Bucks, I don't think so. But even the Wizards, even if the Wizards made it through, look, if the Wizards win their series against Toronto, they'd have to play the winner of Cleveland and Indiana. That's not that, that's not that intimidating to me. So, I mean, any of those teams could really, it's wide open to me. We could see any one of them in the finals, which would be really weird.
Yeah, it would be. Yes, I agree.
Out west, I think it's a 2-horse race, right? It's a little bit different, but that's why they play the games. It's early still. Yeah, we got a lot of basketball to play.
Oh yeah, because it'll be about next month that the second round starts.
That's right. yeah. They finish up somewhere around July, right?
Yeah.
The championship, the game 7 of the finals is like July 4th weekend or something crazy like that. They take way too long. They milk it for all it's worth, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, hey man, I got to go get some food and get some rest. So this is going to be a short one. So why don't we move on to shout-outs? You got a shout-out?
Yeah, I got a shout out. I want to shout out my co-host, you, my brother, for making it this far. I know how important running the Boston Marathon is to you. I know how much training you put into it. I mean, you only ran about 50 plus marathons, and I hear about all of them. But no, my shout out goes to you. I wish you the best of luck in this marathon. I know you're going to do great. I know the elements are going to be kind of crazy, but I know you can handle any type of element that you're put in. So, man, the best of luck to you, my brother, and I hope you do well.
Thank you very much, my friend. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. This has been a very challenging time in my life for this marathon. It's been tough. There's a lot of things that I haven't shared, but I will after the race. And really, the weather is just kind of it's kind of par for the course. It matches the journey that I've been on. So, but we're all on our own journey. We're all on our own path, and I'm hoping to complete mine tomorrow. I'll tell you, I am honored and truly grateful to all of the people around me to get to the line tomorrow. It's been a real struggle, and I feel very blessed to have had so many good friends and colleagues and family members and everyone support me along the way. I am truly appreciative of everyone. It's been a harder ride than most people know. Even you, my esteemed co-host. It's been a tough ride, but I'm excited to get to the line tomorrow and see what I can do. In the worst elements. But like we always say, right? We just keep positive thoughts and we keep moving forward. And I'm gonna push my mind. I'm gonna let my mind push my body tomorrow and hope for the best. My shout out actually goes out to the Boston Marathon itself. The organization is fantastic. The Boston Athletic Association does an incredible job. It is a humongous event. Security is unbelievable around here after the bombings 5 years ago today. So it is a tremendous endeavor for them to do this, to put this on. It's incredible. It is absolutely incredible. And the people of Boston are fabulous. It is an absolute honor to be out here and be a part of this whole event. If you're ever in the Boston area on the third Monday in April and you get the chance to hang out this particular weekend in Boston, do so and be a part of the marathon process and be a part of the marathon experience, however you choose to do it, because it's absolutely amazing the effort of these people. It's a year-round job for them, and tomorrow is their Super Bowl, and they win it every year. They do a fantastic job. My hats off my hats off to them. It is absolutely unbelievable, and the people of Boston are so gracious. You hear a lot of stuff about the people of Boston and how hardcore they are and stuff, but Marathon weekend, they're just great. It's so much fun, and everyone is so welcoming, and it's a blast. It is an absolute blast. So that is my shout out. So if you don't have anything else, I don't have anything else. I think we're gonna wrap this bad boy up. If you want to get a hold of the show, if you want to email us and share your thoughts with us about the early start of the baseball season, the beginnings here of the NBA playoffs, you can reach the show at positivesports10@gmail.com. positivesports10@gmail.com. If you want to reach out to my brother Alex, how do they get a hold of you?
Don't be a leader, be a follower. Follow me on Twitter at Brooklyn Gaucho.
And finally, if you want to reach out to me, talk running, talk sports, give me a hard time about being a nutty runner who's going to run the Boston Marathon tomorrow, you can reach me on Twitter as well, at eMontana21. And as always, folks, especially when you get crappy weather and you got to run 26 miles, ignore the negativity. B, the positivity.